You want to let your chair come.
Sheriff, let me come up to you and send you back. So we just push this microphone up here. Want to push this up? And I know we know who you are, but everybody who speaks just say and spell your name so we can get it right on the screen. A lot of new people.
Good afternoon, I'm Sheriff Tim Pounds. On November the 27th, we received a 911 call. We responded to the call. The call come from 3206 Vicky Lane. But before we got to Vicky Lane, we was routed to the marathon at Stewart Mill in Central Church. Once we arrived, 3 people in the car. We observed that a young female within the vehicle appeared to have been shot. All the witnesses in the car, they told us the shooting took place at 3206 Vicky Lane. We responded to Vicky Lane, and that's where the investigation really started once we got to Vicky Lane. We were determined, and the young kid admitted to, which was a 13-year-old brother, admitted to shooting his sister. But all this come about from what was going on inside the home. Now, this kid is 13 years old, but he's making weapons. We're talking about semi-machine guns. And he's selling those weapons on the streets of Douglas County, Carroll County, Atlanta, everywhere. He's selling the guns on the streets. And what really took place was he made a weapon. Folks that he made it for come to pick that weapon up. And a robbery took place, so they was trying to rob him and take the gun instead of purchasing the gun, and that's exactly what happened. They was able to get the gun and leave the scene without paying the gentleman for the weapon. So in the meantime, that's where the shots were fired. And to me, according to the investigation, he was shooting at the folks that took his weapon. But instead, he shot his sister. And it's so sad for such as that to happen, because a mother losing 2 kids at one time, and that kind of stuff goes on right under your nose, and you never know about it. A 13-year-old kid got on weight about 80 pounds. We was able to make a weapon from start to finish at 13 years old.
Good afternoon. My name is Dahlia Racine, D-A-L-I-A R-A-C-I-N-E, and I'm the district attorney here in Douglas County. I definitely want to thank Sheriff Tim Pounds and his department for the very thorough investigation that they continue to conduct on this case and in this matter. Kyra Scott's death is a tragedy of epic proportion. It's an unspeakable loss for her family. This loss is absolutely senseless, and many are grappling to understand how all of this could happen. We in Douglas County are a community that is in need of healing. Our village has failed to protect our youth. Once this investigation is turned over to the district attorney's office, we will do a thorough assessment, a thorough review of the complete investigation to determine the best way to obtain justice in this matter and determine the appropriate charges. And we will not make any decisions until that is done. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we have tremendous lessons to learn from this horrible, horrible, unspeakable atrocities that happen here in our community. Kyra Scott, by all accounts, was a beautiful and kind soul. And nothing that is done in this case will bring her back. The cost of losing our children is simply too high of a price to pay. And we must do better. And we as a community are going to do better. Thank you.
Sheriff, can you tell us about the 19-year-old that was arrested?
Yes, ma'am. The 19-year-old that was arrested, MacArthur, he was one of the ones that came to receive the weapon that was made. And him and his partner, the one left with the weapon.
I'm sorry, sir, did you say he and his partner left with the weapon?
Yes, ma'am.
So is there still someone outstanding that we're looking for?
Third person we all definitely got interest in. There is a third person.
The 13-year-old brother, will he be charged as an adult? The 13-year-old brother.
Will it be a charge of the, that's gonna be in the hands of the DA.
Now, currently, they are facing charges. Is that not, I mean, is that just for the time being, and those charges could change, ma'am? Or,
Any charges that are initially brought on by law enforcement are reviewed by the DA's office to make ultimate charging decisions, how we move forward.
and is the brother, the 13-year-old, is he facing any charges for the making and the selling of these weapons?
The brother? There is no brother.
Wilson,
Wilson?
you mean Wilson, the one that did the shooting, is he facing any weapons charges,
Weapons.
making the weapons?
Sheriff, I can answer that.
Go ahead, John.
My name's John, Jon Mooney, Mauney. I'm a lieutenant over the major case unit here at the Sheriff's Office. This is still a very active investigation. We have a tremendous amount of work that has to be done on this. We are looking at potential charges for weapons, but we are not at a point at this time to be able to make a comment on that. Like I said, there's significant amount of work that my team has to do, my lead investigators on this case, and hopefully we'll be able to have more answers in the very near future, but until that time, we really can't comment on that.
Are you releasing any information on that third person we're looking for?
No, ma'am, not at this time, we're not.
Can you tell us who all was in the house at the time?
No, ma'am, I cannot.
Did you all believe that the gun that was used that killed, is it Kyra or Kira? I apologize, Kyra, was one that the 13-year-old made?
Absolutely.
Do we know how long he had been doing this?
No, ma'am, I do not, but through court documents and search warrants that we are currently working on, hopefully we'll be able to have those answers in the very near future as well.
Now, sir, we understand that this family had just moved here from Lawrenceville.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
We understand the family had just recently moved to Douglas County, so they're actually from Lawrenceville. Do we know if he may have been doing this back in Lawrenceville? Is that something you all are looking?
We are looking at every avenue possible to backtrace exactly how long this has been going on and who all he has possibly sold guns to and put out on the street. Because our end goal here is to protect lives and hopefully not get anybody else into any more circumstances that will prevent a tragedy from happening. That's our goal here.
Was the shooting in the house or outside?
It was inside the house.
Where?
It was just inside the house. Yes, sir.
And at this point, do you know how many of these quote-unquote ghost guns are out on the streets right now?
From this incident or overall?
Oh, no, from this incident that he could have been making, how,
No, ma'am, I do not. Like I said, there's a tremendous amount of work that my detectives are continually working on right now, and this is an around-the-clock investigation. So we're trying to get to the bottom and get all these questions answered. I have a lot of unanswered questions.
So these are homemade weapons?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this something you come across frequently?
Go ahead, Sheriff.
They are, but as the lieutenant was telling you there, this is an active case. And we have told about all we're gonna tell about this case until we actually finish the case.
Have you ever seen anything like this, children, kids that young making these kind of weapons?
Never in my entire career, never heard of that.
And it's so young.
Have you, what is the kind of scenario with ghost guns out in the streets in general for law enforcement? What is the basic issue? Is that a lot of big deals, a lot of problems for you all?
super big deal for us, simply because the ghost gun is that's why it's called a ghost guns. There's no serial numbers. You can't trace that gun. So it's real critical, and it's a bad thing for law enforcement all over the world. For those guns, you can order everything you need to make that gun off the internet and make it, and it'll fire.
No, sir, I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask you, I know this family has lost essentially two children in one incident, but did the family not know, at this point, I know the investigation is ongoing, but did the family not know this was happening?
Once again, I'm gonna leave that to the end because we're still investigating that part of it.
Is there anything that you can share with us about Kira? About what kind of a student she was, what kind of a person she was?
All I knew, she was a beautiful child and a good kid. That's all I can tell you. She was beautiful and she was a good child.
Did she go to Chapel Hill this year?
My understanding is she went to Chapel Hill
Chapel
High
Hill,
School.
what I thought.
Yes, sir. There was a time frame where she was at Lithia,
Both
but she
of
was
them.
currently at Chapel Hill.
And she's 14 or 13?
14.
Yesterday, Dahlia, both said they charging him as an adult for murder and stuff. Were there any consideration, like involuntary manslaughter, or why as an adult?
Again, we're not commenting on ultimately what we will be charging this case on until we have the complete file.
So right now, it's murder.
Those are the warrants that were taken, correct?
Right.
You probably already asked them this, but the family where the guns were being made, is there any charges on that? And
Once again, you're in the middle of the investigation. We're gonna finish it before we go to run.
With Yusuf, why was he charged with murder?
The felony murder statute allows charging of felony murder if somebody dies as a result of, in the commission of a felony, which would be a robbery as an underlying.
Right.
So was there an exchange of gunfire? Is that what we're determining this is?
We're gonna look at y'all. I don't want to be rude or ugly, but we're gonna end this at this time. We are finished with this investigation.
Thanks for your time.
Thank
All right.